Real estate agents, most of you are running marketing strategies that are completely incomplete, and that is why you aren't getting the results you want. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build out a fully functional system that makes sense so that leads come in and they become clients reliably based off the 200 plus agents I've worked with across the country. And if you don't know me, my name is Jarvis. I run Jarvis Media Consolidated. We're a social media marketing company for agents and have some pretty awesome results like here below. But let's jump into the video. So most agents that I've worked with are doing some things really, really well. And the problem is that they know that that's what they're supposed to be doing and they're not getting the results they want. But the problem is they are doing one or two things right, but they are missing a massive part of their nurturing sequence and overall their conversion process from a new lead to actually becoming a client. And here's a good analogy to kind of show you what I mean. Let's say you're learning how to drive a car. Well, you don't go show up to your first lesson, you sit in the front seat, and then the driving instructor doesn't sit in the other seat and they say, hey, you know what? You're good to go. You're here. Go ahead. Drive the car. You're ready to go. No, obviously not. You go and you ride along, then you learn some things, you do some things in the classroom, then you make the switch to driving with them supervising you, and then eventually you're driving by yourself, right? It is a step-by-step sequence that makes sense so that you are comfortable along the way. And what I found with most real estate agents out there is that they have massive jumps in their lead sequences or in their marketing sequences that make it very tough for somebody to go ahead and want to work with you as their agent because they're just not there yet. And then when it happens is when you get leads that are just not there yet and you give up on them, which a lot of people do, then you just end up churning the very top of your funnel and you have leaky bucket basically that just is losing out on all these opportunities that you never end up recovering, and it makes a very expensive, very inefficient marketing sequence. So instead, I want to show you a better process and with an example of a funnel that you can copy yourself. So let's say that you are running meta ads for your lead generation, right? Well, when a meta ad comes through and somebody sees that and then they react to it, they're going to click like the learn more button. And let's say we're using a lead form ad. And if you aren't familiar with this, I have videos that show this kind of stuff. But for the more 201, 301 advanced users here, if you've ever run lead form campaigns, essentially you're running an ad on a social media platform. There's a button that says learn more. They click it and then they can give you their information. Now, a lot of agents will just run that, right? They'll learn how to just build out an ad on Facebook, run it, do some targeting, and then they'll get some leads, right? And what's deceiving about this process is that it actually works very, very well to get leads. The problem is that it's completely foregoing the importance of quality leads. And one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is optimizing your time. Because if you got 1,000 leads tomorrow, you would have to pick and choose which one of those leads to follow up with. You wouldn't be able to do them all in one day, let alone 1 week. And speed to lead is massively important. So you would have to prioritize those leads anyway. That's why I'm always so skeptical of companies that say, oh, we'll get you so many leads. It's like, well, one, you couldn't even properly work those, so that wouldn't be helpful anyway. And the chances are the more leads you're getting, generally speaking, unless you're spending a ton of money in ad spend, the lower quality they're going to be. So we don't want that. We want a decent amount of really, really good leads. And so instead, when you're building out this sequence, for example, and this can work with different targeting and tools and all that stuff with like email marketing or whatever, but just to give an example for meta leads, you build out your ad. You said, home buyers and sellers, here are the 3 most important things you need to know before buying a home in Nebraska, right? Or whatever it might be, just as an example there. They click on the learn more button, they move down, and then they have the spot where they're going to give their information. Now, an important step here that a lot of people miss with lead form ads in particular is that you can put in questions there that not only give you more information about the lead, but they can also help you qualify or disqualify your leads. And again, if you've seen my videos, I have multiple lead generation videos that talk about this exact process, so you can check those out. But this is where you can actually make sure that you're only getting the right folks there. So you can say basically, what is your timeline? Are you looking to buy or sell immediately? Are you looking to buy or sell in the next couple months? Or are you looking to sell in 6+ months, right? And that way you can actually have a way to separate the different lead quality. So if somebody says 6+ months, then maybe we send them to a page that says, hey, you know what, thank you so much, but you're probably not the best fit for us, or we're not the best fit for you. Here's some other resources you can take advantage of. That's great. Or you can qualify them into your CRM and just have them in a different funnel up sequence, but that's more of an advanced thing. So when you're building out this sequence here, you can have these kinds of questions like time frame or budget, or if they're looking to buy or sell, if you only work with one, then you can make sure that you're only working with that one particular agent, or you're working with that one particular client. That way you're always getting the right kind of people for you. Now, what you can also do here is, keep a lot of those open and just get their information and have them in different funnel sequences, which again, more advanced. But you can also qualify based off budget and a bunch of other things. So once they go through that process, you will now have a lead. And you're going to be paying more per lead in that result, and you're going to be getting less of them. And that's an okay thing because the cost per lead doesn't matter as much when it's in a vacuum. It matters relative to how many of those leads are you actually converting. And so what you can do is you can get people who are higher intent based by doing something like that. You can make sure you have questions in there that make sure that only the people coming through or the people coming through are basically showing that they have a higher level intent, maybe a better time frame, maybe a better budget. You can customize all of those things, right? They come through, and then a lot of times agents will just leave it like that, right? And then so what ends up happening is that you have these leads, but they're inside of Meta. And yes, you can access those, but the problem is then you're not knowing as soon as a lead comes in, you're not knowing exactly what you need to be doing to follow up with that lead immediately. You don't have any automated sequences. And that is where you need to, of course, put in a CRM that's going to be able to do some of that legwork for you. Now, there's a bunch of different CRMs out there. A bunch of them do a really great job. I have a link to our white label one built out of Go High Level. If you want to check that out, you can try it out for 14 days for free. But if you have another one, you can integrate this into Facebook. They make it a lot easier nowadays than it used to be when I was starting my marketing career. But you can have it so that when a lead comes in through Facebook or Instagram, it automatically goes into your CRM and then it can trigger a sequence. So this is great because you can help to beat out some of the speed to lead issues that a lot of agents struggle with, right? So you can have a lead come through and immediately send them a text message if you have that set up, an email if you have that properly set up, even send you yourself a notification to give them a call so you can give them a call within 5 minutes or ideally within 60 seconds. And all those things are going to highly improve the quality of your conversion rates. So then once you have that set up, then you can move on to the next thing, which is, okay, well, how do we follow up with this lead, right? Because yes, we've reached out to them once or twice or as soon as they've become a lead, and that's really great. But now we need to figure out what is the next step here. So this is where so many agents actually have the biggest issue because a lot of agents have all those things I've mentioned before already built out. But what they don't have is a compelling reason for someone to jump on a call or to show up to a meeting or to do anything with you in your next steps. And this is where your offer is so important because a lot of agents fall into the issue where a lot of people will think of real estate agents as a commodity. And a commodity is basically just something that has value, but is identical. Like there's a million different versions of it, right? So gold is a commodity, right? Like if I mine gold here or if I mine gold in Asia, like it's gold either way, right? And that's how a lot of people feel about real estate agents. And that couldn't be farther from the truth because in a service-based industry, the experience of the agent, the processes, the know-how, all of these things are really important that can help dictate the quality of the result that they get for their client. However, people don't understand this as much because agents do a really bad job of illustrating it because they just say, I'm the best agent or I have the best processes. And that doesn't make for a really good way to actually prove it. It just makes it feel like you're selling yourself, which that kind of content doesn't perform well across multiple platforms, especially on social media. So when we're using this sequence to kind of give a reason why somebody would want to jump on a call with us or have a meeting or do whatever the next step may be, there needs to be incentive. And this is where I like to recommend, and you can do this at the very start of your funnel too with your marketing. This is where I like to recommend just having an insane amount of value. One of my favorite examples of this is, hey, I know that you are like, hey, John, I saw that you were looking to buy a house in Nebraska. I'd like to show you how you might be able to do this for free without actually getting an agent. That way you could save a bunch of money by knowing how to do it yourself without having to hire somebody like me. That's incredible. And a lot of folks are going to say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to sell them on not working with me. I want them to work with me. Yes, you do. But the problem is here, though, is thinking that because they're a lead, they want to work with you. That is the biggest misconception a lot of people make. People become leads at the beginning of their journey, not at the end. So the big hurdle that a lot of agents do is they generate a lead and then they say, oh, well, this person must want to work with me because they clicked on my thing. No, they clicked on the thing because they want to know a little bit more, because they're at the initial stages, because they have some level of intrigue there, and they could just be shopping around. And a lot of people are, until you have a sequence of showing your worth there, right? Because ideally what you want to happen is you show up, somebody clicks on the thing, they become a lead, you have a nurture sequence that builds up a lot of trust, and then ultimately whenever they're ready to buy or sell, they choose you because you've done all that legwork. And it's that building of trust part that a lot of folks just kind of sleep on and they don't end up having a good system for. So instead, you can have an amazing offer that is very, very compelling. And by the way, just because you have a compelling offer doesn't mean you can say at one time it's going to work with a 100% success rate. You need to constantly reframe that offer, remind people of that offer, show up consistently over and over again with that offer until finally somebody will click through. So you need to have a great offer, and it doesn't have to be, hey, let me show you how to buy your own home for, like, representing yourself so you don't have to hire an agent. But let me show you exactly why that is so helpful. So put your mind in the position of a home buyer, right? They are looking to buy a home, and buying a home is incredibly expensive, right? They have to save up a lot. They have to feel comfortable about it. They have to know that the market is in the right place. If they're a first-time home buyer, all those things are just amplified because it's terrifying the first time you buy a home. You don't want to screw up, and you've heard all these horror stories of people doing bad home purchases that can leave them in a lot of financial ruin. So you're already kind of stressed out here, right? And what you're doing is offering an example that is actually going to save them money, because they know they have to, in some way, shape, or form, pay a commission to the real estate agent that they use, right? Yes, some agents can negotiate, like in olden days, did get the seller to kind of compensate for the buyer's commission, but they don't know that, right? They don't jump ahead. They don't understand that. They know if they're going to hire an agent in some way, shape, or form, they're going to pay for that. And you're coming in and saying, hey, let me show you how to do this for free so you can save money. That's all the offer is. And yes, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, how do I fill my own pockets? But that might come later once you build trust. You're definitely not going to sell somebody if they don't trust you. So we have to build trust first. So what you'll end up doing in this particular offer is you say, hey, like, would love to show you how you can buy or sell your home. Would love to give you maybe a specific example. Could we meet up at a coffee shop, or can we, jump on a quick phone call? And I'll tell you a little bit about how we show folks how to do this themselves. And here's what's funny is, like, you're still not even selling, like, you're not even just jumping onto a meeting where you're going to show them how to do that. You're jumping on a meeting to sell them on showing how to buy or sell a home themselves, that they can do it, that they can have all this success. So then you jump on the call, because there is a level of motivation there. You should have a decent success rate. And if you're not, then you need to obviously do more follow-up, have more convincing messaging, test those things to make sure you're getting there, because that is a good offer. You should have people who are interested in getting that because it's totally free, right? That's how you should advertise it. So they jump on a call, you say, hey, I'm whoever, here's my experience. I have found, great results for my clients, but I know a lot of people don't need that. A lot of folks can do this themselves. By the way, a lot of folks can do a lot of things themselves. It doesn't mean it makes sense to, and that is the trick there. So you're gonna jump on the call and be like, hey, saw you wanna learn how to buy your house yourself, represent yourself so you don't have to hire an agent. I think that's awesome. Let me walk you through everything you need to know from somebody who's done this for 10 years or done this from 20 years or whatever in this market, right? And this is a perfect example where you can show them, one, the difficulty of the job of the real estate agent, two, all the knowledge that they have to have, three, the risks of getting it wrong, and four, your expertise and your knowledge, and five, the trust, because you are sitting there just out of the goodness of your heart helping them with their process. And what a really important secret step 6 here, in when you're actually having this meeting, is that you don't want to sell them on working with you, because that would be fraudulent. If you're saying, hey, like, I'm going to show you how to do this for free, and then you come in and say, like, by the way, here's how you can work with us, that's not really a good faith marketing tactic, because you kind of jumped on there to show them how to do it themselves. Now, what you can do, however, and what I've seen results with my own company doing a very similar version of this, which I'll explain, is that you jump on this call and then you actually just walk through the step-by-step process of everything that they need to do. And then by the end of that, they're going to say, oh my God, I have so many questions. Like, I'm not sure if I can do this, I'm not sure, whatever. And that is where you can basically see if they actually feel like they might need help. If they feel confident, then great. That's okay. Like, you don't need to sell every single one of these leads because these leads will have a far better success rate than other marketing campaigns that you're running because there's so much trust built into the sequence. And that is where you can basically say, hey, like, do you have everything you need? What other questions do you have? Do you feel like you can confidently do this yourself? And if they say yes, then great, you've done your job. That is okay. Because a lot of times people will try this and they might even still come back to you and say, you know what, I tried this out. I really just want to have an expert do it for me, which is awesome. And that's where you can be like, okay, cool, here's how I can help you. But if they say, you know what, you just explained this to me. I really appreciate it. This is super helpful. I think this is like too much for me to do. Like I have my own job. I don't want to like this is a whole career, which yeah, it's surprising. I know it sounds obvious that like yeah, obviously it's a career, but they don't understand that yet. They haven't experienced it yet. And so now they understand just a bit of what this is going to look like if they try to do this themselves and the risks. And they're going to say, you know what? I don't think the risks are worth the reward. I want to just hire a professional. What are you doing next week, right? Like it's basically a much more natural way to go into working together because there's that level of trust built in. You're not just calling up strangers nonstop who don't remember you because even though they opted into one thing, they've opted into like 15 things last week. They don't remember exactly what they did to, have a conversation with you. And when most agents aren't even following up with the majority of their leads anyway, let alone doing it quickly and in a time appropriate manner, then you're going to run into a lot of issues there. And so that is where this process can be so helpful because it is so valuable to the lead that even if you don't convert every lead, it doesn't matter because you're still getting a better success rate and a more trust being built, which can even lead to higher referrals and other benefits, even if they don't hire you, right? If somebody comes in and they recommend, and you did a great job of showing them how to buy or sell a home, and they might refer you to a friend who doesn't want to do it themselves, but you have so much trust there with that one person that it's easy for them to refer you. So that is where you can have so many benefits of this process because every step of the way is a natural next step, and every step of the way there's a natural benefit to the actual lead, right? In the very beginning, you say, hey, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, here are some urgent things you need to know about. Here's whatever you need to do. Here's a great way to do it if you want to just lead with the actual offer. Here's a great way to do it for free without actually having to hire a real estate agent to do it for you. There's a lot of value there. They're going to save money. They're going to save time. They're going to learn something that's going to be helpful for them. They click learn more. Then you get their information, make sure that they're qualified. Then it goes into their CRM. You contact them immediately, like, hey, I saw that you responded to this. Like, would love to tell you a little bit about how we think that you could do this yourself. We'd love to tell you a little bit how to XYZ, whatever. There's incentive there because they're like, yeah, I want to make sure I can actually do this myself before I just commit to trying to be my own real estate agent. You sell them on that. Then you have another call where it's like, cool, like now that we've explained how you can do this yourself, all the processes you need, now let's jump into the call of actually showing you how to do this. Or the meeting, an hour-long, 2-hour-long meeting where we're showing you exactly everything that you're going to need. Then in that meeting, they say, cool, now I've fulfilled the need of needing to know what I need to do. And now it's the actual process of doing it that I'm worried about or that I'm concerned about. I don't feel like I can do myself. That is where then you can save them with, well, actually, here's how I could represent you. Here's how much it would actually cost. And maybe in some situations, we can actually get the seller to pay for that. So in which case, it'd actually still be free for you. And you can just have me alongside actually making sure that everything is going accordingly. Would that sound fair enough? That is where it's a natural progression. You're not going from a lead to then calling them saying, hey, I heard you need help buying or selling a home. Let's work together. And they're like, whoa, I am not there yet, right? Or how did you get my number? I don't even remember your ad, right? That is where you run into issues. Whereas this process or some other offer that just naturally goes through a process where it's constantly fixing some issue for the actual lead is going to get you far better results. And I did the exact same thing for my company when I was starting out. I would use cold email and I started to use it with ads where I would reach out to people. I would say, hey, like I want to just show you how to get a ton of followers for your social media as a real estate agent or get a ton of views absolutely free. I'll show you how to do it. It'll take 30 minutes. And they said, oh, wow, that's great. Then I would show them some processes and campaigns they could run to do those things. And then at the end of it, they said, this is super cool. I really want this. I don't want to deal with building this out myself. What would it look like for us to work together and you to do this for me? And it is the easiest kind of sale to close because it's built in trust, right? You're not doing any kind of offering, you're not doing any kind of pitching before there's a strong level of trust, which is the ultimate hack to increase your conversion rates, at least from what I have seen and from somebody who doesn't have a crazy amount of sales experience. That was really, really helpful for my company. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video.